A seismic event is taking place behind the scenes in the world of finance and cryptocurrency. And to tell you the truth, it is not simply another cryptocurrency exchange-traded fund application. An internal paper from BlackRock that was recently leaked and branded Project Longhorn outlines an audacious strategy to purchase a 20% ownership investment in Ripple Labs before to the company's first public offering, IPO, which has been anticipated for a very long time. BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, is planning to make a direct foray into Ripple itself, while cryptocurrency exchange-traded funds, ETFs, and Ethereum laws are being debated around the world. XRP, the firm, and not simply a holding or a controlling position, are all included in this proposal. In the memo, which is dubbed Project Longhorn Pre-IPO Acquisition Strategy, the company lays out what can only be described as a corporate masterstroke. Words such as strategic equity insertion, market capture before public issuance, and controlling stake objective are included in the paper. It would appear that the letter is a component of a larger playbook that is aimed at high-value fintech companies who are bridging the gap between blockchain and traditional finance. To put it another way, BlackRock is not only interested in exposure, they are also interested in ownership. It is necessary to take a step back and examine both players in order to get a complete understanding of the ramifications of this move. BlackRock, which manages assets worth more than $10 trillion, is well known for entering markets in a stealthy but aggressive manner. When it comes to traditional finance, their influence is unparalleled, and when they invest capital, they do it with the intention of dominating. Ripple Labs, on the other hand, is a privately held firm that has the potential to be worth $100 billion based on secondary share sales. It has enterprise relationships that include businesses all over the world and plays a crucial role in blockchain-based payment systems. The company's on-demand liquidity, often known as ODL, solution is already being utilized by notable financial institutions and banks all around the world. Despite the fact that Ripple's XRP ledger is decentralized, the fact that it is a creator and marketer of XRP-based financial solutions makes it a prize asset in the crypto financial infrastructure. Ripple is identified as a priority acquisition target in the memo that was leaked due to the fact that it has an early compliance plan and an unrivaled real-world utility. Ripple is not just legally prepared, but also institutionally prepared, according to BlackRock, which acknowledges that the SEC dispute has been resolved. And this is the most important factor to consider. During the time that the market has been concentrating on token pricing, BlackRock is considering infrastructure that is dominant. Trading XRP is not the issue, rather it is about exercising control over how XRP is utilized. To put it another way, this technique is quite different from the conventional ETF plays. The creation of these passive investment vehicles was essentially what BlackRock was doing when it launched its iShares Bitcoin Trust and submitted an application for an Ethereum exchange-traded fund. On the other hand, Project Longhorn is an active investment in a genuine firm, complete with employees, intellectual property, legal obligations, and governance rights. Other aspects of the corporation include governance rights. And to tell you the truth, it is what makes this shift so much more potent. And depending on how you feel about decentralization, it is also so much more dangerous. Specifically, BlackRock stated in the MMO that its objective is to have a significant impact in Ripple governance prior to the structuring of the initial public offering in order to maximize public valuation and ecosystem leverage. In other words, it is anticipated that that initial public offering will get a significant amount of interest, potentially even one of the most significant in the history of the financial technology industry. On the other hand, BlackRock does not wish to engage in a battle with the general public over shares on the open market. In order to get in earlier and pay a reduced fee, they want to get in. In addition, they should make certain that they have a significant amount of control over the path that Ripple pursues once it is a publicly traded corporation. What is the significance of this for those who possess XRP? The reason for this is that the worth of Ripple has a direct impact on the value of the XRP ecosystem, assuming that Ripple is worth at least $100 billion and that its products, many of which require or make use of XRP, continue to scale. The demand for XRP will expand at an exponential rate. To tell you the truth, however, beyond that, the presence of BlackRock also indicates institutional approval at the highest possible level. Speculation in the retail sector is no longer the only concern. This pertains to the process of XRP being ingrained in the veins of the global financial system. Consequently, let us take a moment to think about the numbers. It would be a $20 billion investment prior to the initial public offering if BlackRock were to acquire a 20% share at a valuation of $100 billion. In addition, when Ripple eventually goes public, the public markets may drive the valuation even higher, possibly reaching a value of $200 billion or even higher. This has the potential to provide BlackRock with a paper gain of more than $20 billion on the very first day. However, you should recognize that the true value is not in the initial public offering IPO pop. Rather, it is in the influence. BlackRock could get voting power, board seats, and a long-term influence in Ripple's product development if it were to acquire a 20% ownership in the company. This would include the ability to integrate and scale XRP. Other geopolitical repercussions should also be taken into consideration. The blockchain company Ripple is one of the few companies founded in the United States that has a truly worldwide impact. The company has a remarkable international reach thanks to the connections it has formed in Asia, Europe, Latin America, and Africa. In the event that BlackRock integrates itself into Ripple, it will not only get control over a company, but it will also acquire a footing in the subsequent phase of global financial rail construction. In addition, this is something that governments, central banks, and regulators will be keeping a careful eye on. A move of this nature, according to critics, poses a threat to decentralization. If BlackRock, a major player on Wall Street, were to acquire ownership of Ripple, what would happen to the concept of open trustless systems? Would it be possible for Ripple to become merely an extension of traditional finance? Alternatively, the resources and influence of BlackRock could potentially assist in bringing cryptocurrency into the mainstream more quickly, thereby providing XRP with the kind of adoption it needs in order to realize its promise. There is a rift within the XRP community. For some people, this is a form of affirmation. This is the time when the major money comes in and it is really going all in. On the other hand, there are many who are concerned that this could signal that XRP is being co-opted, possibly transformed into a Wall Street utility coin that has lost its decentralized goals completely. Nevertheless, here is the truth. The use of XRP in businesses is already intrinsically linked to it. The purpose was never to be anonymous or to rebel against authority. When it came to international finance, the most important factors were always efficiency, speed, and cost effect. The memo contains a single line that stands out from the rest of the lines. That's all there is to it. Control the firm and control the rails. In only 8 words, that sums up the entire plan. Ripple is the constructor and XRP is the token. The XRP ledger is the same thing as the rail. Through the acquisition of a share in Ripple, BlackRock has established itself as the new conductor of the system, not merely a bystander, but rather, as you might say, an active participant in the strategic process. What, therefore, is the next step? According to people who are aware with the transaction, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink is really slated to meet with Ripple's board of directors for a session that will take place behind closed doors in order to discuss the details of the sale. BlackRock is reportedly offering to provide liquidity at a premium, which would include access to its global network of financial partners, in exchange for preferred share allocation, as stated in the document. A short time before Ripple's initial public offering IPO paperwork is made public, the deal would be announced if it were to go through. Just that announcement has the potential to send the price of XRP skyrocketing. It is not due to pure guesswork, but rather due to the significance of what it signifies: the collaboration between the largest asset management in the world and one of the most utility-driven firms in the cryptocurrency industry. If we are being completely honest, the ramifications for adoption, liquidity, and legitimacy are enormous. In conclusion, let's look at the weather forecast. Expect a ripple effect across the cryptocurrency market if BlackRock decides to take this stake. It will be a race against time for other institutions to establish their own footholds. The likes of JPMorgan, Fidelity, and Vanguard are not going to remain still. To what extent does XRP have the potential to become the asset of choice for enterprise blockchain solutions? And what about Ripple's initial public offering? In the annals of fintech, it is highly probable that this ranking would be among the most viewed of all time. One thing is very evident, regardless of whether you consider this to be a power grab or a strategic evolution. There is going to be a shift in the future of XRP. It is possible that those who are currently holding XRP could soon find themselves in the heart of one of the most significant financial stories of the decade. There is more to Project Longhorn than just a memo that was stolen. In other words, it is a control blueprint. In place of playing the game, BlackRock is in the process of rewriting the rules, and everything will be different if Ripple gives its approval. The fate of XRP is no longer up to speculation.